Welcome back to day 2 of our December marathon. Today we have our AEW 2026 predictions for you guys. We have predictions for world champions, the tournament winners, and a few other things as well. But yeah, how we feel about AEW going into 2026.
Yeah, I think it's been, a really good time for them. Obviously, the year started off maybe a little bit slow, but it definitely picked up towards the end. And yeah, I'm excited to see what all our predictions are.
Yeah, let's kick things off with who our champions will be next year. Let's start off with the big one. Let's start with the men's world champion. Who do you think will be a champion next year?
I'm going to go with Kyle Fletcher. I think he had an amazing 2025. Just from top to bottom, he really was kind of built up really nicely from Tony Khan. It's kind of, you don't really see him build up the young guys a whole lot. He kind of sticks to the top end talent of the card, similar to how WWE does. But this is a very good showing that, they can put the rocket to somebody, so to say, if he really wants to. But yeah, I'm going Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah, the guy I went with, I guess, is kind of the mentor to Kyle Fletcher, and that's going to be Will Ospreay. With him returning sometime next year, hopefully, I think we'll be in store for a very strong Will Ospreay run next year. And I think a world champion is the only thing you can really give him, because I think he'll be back putting on some amazing matches, maybe in a different style. But I think one thing that will be consistent is just how good his matches will be.
Yeah.
And then next up, let's stick with the women now, and let's go with who will be the women's world champion.
So I have someone who is kind of someone who's really rose to the top for me, and someone who I just really love her matches. I love her, just the way she just feels in ring. She just feels like a big presence in ring, like she's a dominant, and that is Megan Bayne. Yeah, she's just one of probably my favorite signing from AEW this year. She's just been just really good in Blood and Guts. She really proved that she could be like a dominant force in a big match like that, and I feel like she's kind of continued that throughout the entire year since she's been in AEW, and all the work that she's doing in Stardom and everywhere else that she goes. But yeah, she's a workhorse. She's amazing. So I have Megan Bayne for the world title next year.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I also went with Megan Bayne. I think she has everything that you want in a top-end professional wrestler. She has the look. She's good in ring. I think her promos have been pretty good as of late when we do get to hear her talk. I think the only thing that might be keeping her back is just of what AEW represents, and that is like the best wrestlers in the world. She is really good in the ring. However, she's not Mercedes Moné level just yet. So I think eventually when she gets a little bit more cleaned out, she'll be a phenomenal wrestler, and she'll be a top-end talent by the end of next year. And yeah, I think a world champion is something that will look amazing on her. Let's go to the TBS champion now. For me, I went with somebody who I think had a very good 2025. Unfortunately, hasn't been able to finish her 2025 just yet, but I will go with Queen Aminata. I think she's a perfect person who is fairly young and somebody who can be a future for what the TBS champion can represent, and that is a developmental type of title where it leads you to a potential world champion down the line. And I think Queen Aminata is somebody who I could see in that picture in a few years, but as of right now, I think a TBS champion suits her perfectly.
Yeah, for me, I do have Thekla myself. I think she's someone who just already that popular where you kind of could put her in a world title picture if you really wanted to already. People really are behind her. They love the entrance, the music. They love her with the Sisters of Sin and everything, the Triangle of Madness. So a lot of good stuff going on with Thekla, so I do have her winning this TBS title.
From the TBS champion to the TNT champion, who do you think will win that?
For this one, I do have Speedball Mike Bayley. I feel like he's obviously had an amazing time in TNA. People kind of know him from there. And he signed to AEW, had that amazing Fatal 4-Way or Triple Threat match with Kenny, Ricochet, and Orange Cassidy or something of that nature. And yeah, I feel like he opened a lot of eyes. And I feel like in 2026, he'll get a lot more opportunities to open even more eyes. And I feel like that TNT title will just look really good around his waist.
Yeah, I think him in this Continental Classic will go on to prove that he does deserve a lot of singles action as well as long as with the tag team action that he has been doing with Kevin Knight. But I do really like that pick for TNT champion. But for me, I did go with Nick Wayne. He's somebody who I think ever since he's gone to AEW, the talent is there. He has pretty much everything. It's just a matter of when he'll get the opportunity to show off and be a top end talent. But yeah, I think he has almost everything that you need to be a top end talent in AEW. And I think a TNT champion will just look amazing on him like it did for Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah, I like that pick for sure. Nick Wayne's definitely a rising talent right now.
And then next up, let's go to the tag team action. Let's start with the men's tag team champions.
For me, I have a pretty simple pick, and that's just Jurassic Express. We've seen them just gain a ton of popularity overnight at the return of Luchasaurus, and ever since then, it's kind of been off to the races. This is the most popular that I've personally seen Jack Perry. I didn't watch his original run with Luchasaurus. So yeah, this is a pretty cool sight to see of him and Luchasaurus kind of being over with the crowd. They're doing the sing-along and the music, and everything about it's pretty cool stuff, so I think giving them the tag team titles will be pretty cool.
Yeah, I do like that pick, but for me, I did go with somebody who's having a really strong year right now, and that is Kyle O'Reilly, but with Roderick Strong. I think they have been on a great little run these past few weeks and past few months, really, but I think in 2026, maybe they won't see the opportunities in the singles division, but I think in the tag team division, they will have a good potential to win those tag team champions. They can build some phenomenal matches with the Young Bucks, FTR, and I think they could clash well with a lot of those teams. And yeah, I think a tag team champion could suit them very well.
Yeah, for sure.
And then let's go to the women's tag team champions. Obviously, we don't have our first champions just yet, but who is another team or a team you think will win it next year?
So unfortunately, we did see the Sisters of Sin get eliminated on Dynamite. However, I do have them being maybe the next champions, maybe the champions after that, whatever it may be, but I definitely have them winning tag team goals sometime in 2026.
Yeah, I like that, but for me, I went with Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. I think once we see Chris lose that world champion, I don't know if we'll see her in singles action immediately after, but I think to kind of keep the women's tag team strong, you put her and Willow together, it's a very strong babyface team, or if sometime next year we see them both turn heel, I think that could also be a very dominant team, but either way, I think it would be a nice pairing to kind of keep them in this tag team division and keep that interesting and alive, which they have a lot of backing from a lot of the crowd.
Yeah, for sure.
Then let's go to the Trios champions. Who do you got?
Yeah, for this one, I have a semi-new pick, I guess, because they kind of won gold before, but I do have the Guns and Ace Austin rather than Jay White this time. But yeah, amazing for Ace Austin to get signed by AEW, and he hasn't really gotten big opportunities or anything yet, but he's still so young, and there's still a lot of time for him, so I'm not really worried about that necessarily, but I do think a Trios division start for him would probably be the best way to kind of introduce him to the world of AEW.
Yeah, I like that. For me, I went with the guys from Ring of Honor, and that is the Shane Taylor promotion. I don't know which three you would go with, but I think there's a lot of good options. I really like Lee Moriarty. He's somebody who, when I do watch Ring of Honor shows, he's somebody who I always love his matches. The match with Nigel he had, I think he had a match with Brian Keith, which was really good. But yeah, he is a phenomenal talent, and I think there are guys who could really show off what they have to offer on AEW TV and get some bigger opportunities with a division that's not very strong, and I think they can make the best of what they got. So yeah. Then let's go back to some singles action with the international champion.
So for this one, I have someone who just lost the tag team gold, and that is Brody King. I think he's someone who's deservingly needed of a singles division push and just to be in the singles division in general. Obviously, there's kind of a looming return of Buddy Murphy, so maybe he kind of just gets stuck right back in the tag team division, unfortunately. But I do think the best call would be to just send him out into singles division and let him win gold.
Yeah, I like that. For me, I also went with a big guy, but I went with Bobby Lashley. I don't know if we'll see him in the world titles picture next year, just because I feel like if MJF is there, then he'll be there. But I don't know if he'll get there anytime soon right now. It doesn't look like that, I'll say. But I think an international champion could, at least you have a champion on him. He'll have some pretty good matches and he can consistently be on TV. And yeah, I think this would be a great addition for Bobby's already kind of crazy accolade and title closet, I guess.
No.
And then let's go for the final champion, and that's going to be the national champion.
For this one, this is the one that I have Bobby Lashley being a part of and winning here. We've already seen him, doing certain things in AEW to kind of lead you to think that he will be in the singles division, as you kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. We've seen him and Shelton Benjamin recently kind of have a little face-off, little short match or whatever in the Casino Gauntlet. But it'd be nice to see a full-fledged Bobby Lashley win.
Yeah, I'd do it like that as well. But for me, I went with somebody I already mentioned, but that is Lee Moriarty. I really want him to have a good 2026. He has been in AEW for quite a few years now, I feel like, and he hasn't really got those opportunities yet, but I think he is very much deserving, and I think a national title would suit him well to defend a lot on either AEW TV, Ring of Honor TV, or on the Indies as well. I think he'll be a great suitor for that champion.
Yeah, for sure.
But let's go to our tournaments now. We're going to kick off with the Owen Hart men's tournament.
For this one, I have another Kyle Fletcher. I think this, I mentioned earlier how I want him to be the world title, and I think potentially this could be how he gets to that world title. So yeah, I have him winning.
Yeah, for me, I went with a big one, and I went with Kenny Omega. I think it would be a great spot to kind of get Kenny back into that main title picture. It's something I think I'm not gonna say it's lacking of the Kenny Omega spirit, but I want to see him back in big kind of picture things. And I think with that world champion potentially going to All In, facing whoever it might be, I think he'll have a phenomenal match. Obviously, it's Kenny, but yeah, I think Owen Hart tournament for him under his accolades would be very nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Then let's go to the women's Owen Hart tournament.
This one I have Willow Nightingale. I think she's someone who had an amazing. I mean, every year she's amazing every year. Let's be honest. But she never really got the big opportunities that a lot of other people got. So hopefully in 2026 we'll see her start to get those big opportunities at the world title.
Yeah. And for me, I went with somebody who I think should have been on AEW TV this year more consistently, but I hope next year is that. And that is going to be Athena. She has been amazing ever since she's gotten on the ring AEW TV. She's been amazing in Ring of Honor as well. So yeah, I think her winning the Owen Hart, going into All In for a world title picture match, I think that would be very nice for her.
No.
And then let's go to the Continental Classic, which will probably finish off their year.
Yeah, I mean, for this one, I kind of have a surprising one, maybe to a lot of people at least, and that is going to be Powerhouse Hobbs. I think he just came off of that amazing Hangman Adam Page match at Blood and Guts that we got to witness live, and just seeing him live in person, how big he is, and just it's one of those things where it's like obviously you know he's big when you see him on TV. I mean he's yoked out of his mind, but when you see it in person, especially how up close he kind of was to us whenever he was doing the little spot in the crowd or whatever, it was kind of just amazing seeing how big these guys actually are in person. And yeah, he's someone who's just really good in ring. Obviously, you know, he could maybe get a little bit better at, you know, different things. But I think for big men in wrestling, I think he's one of the better ones in all of professional wrestling. So I think Powerhouse Hobbs being an unstoppable force in the tournament would be very cool.
Yeah, I really like that. But for me, I'm with a guy who we haven't been able to see in 2025 as of late, but that is somebody who I hope does return next year, and that's going to be Jay White. I think a good tournament run from him would be amazing. And yeah, I think he's somebody who I hope when he does come back, we get to kind of kick things off pretty strong and kind of have a dominant year next year, because I think he's somebody who kind of touched the tip of the world champion very close and kind of got could have won it at one point, but I think him now returning, I think will be a big moment for him, and I think that will kind of be a decider on where you go with Jay White down the line.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And then next, let's go on to some signings we think AEW will make.
So I'm going to just briefly go over. I have 4 people that I think AEW probably has their eyes on and are looking to making a play for. And that is going to be obviously the big one that everyone's kind of been wanting is Dakota Kai. That's the easy pick. That's the one that people probably anticipate the most happening. It kind of feels like it's a lock. She hasn't really done anything since leaving the WWE, so that kind of leads you to expect that she has something big planned, since she's not going and doing indie dates and not, you know, she's making no money right now. Mm-hmm. So the fact that she's doing that, she's pretty confident in herself that she has something lined up. And another person is going to be a TNA guy, and that's going to be Mike Santana. Now, obviously, he has a history in AEW already, and, you know, he was released or whatever the case was with that. He went and kind of reinvented himself, and I feel like a big Cody Rhodes, like, finish your story kind of thing in AEW could be a really cool thing for them to do, and to kind of make up for, you know, maybe what they did to him or didn't do, whatever the case is. Then 2 more people who, you know, not too much to go on about with these 2, but it is going to be J-Rod, someone who's fairly new to me, but she's just a big Megan Baynish style wrestler, and she's just a massive person, wrestling in New Japan, really good, and yeah, I think they'll have their eyes on her, as well as another TNA person being Dani Luna, who I'm sure a lot of you are going to be familiar with, one of the best women's wrestlers that's not signed to WWE or AEW, if not the best. But yeah, she's very good. I love Dani Luna, and it'd be nice to see her anywhere.
Yeah, for me, I only brought 2 to the table. Somebody who we have seen on Ring of Honor, and that's gonna be Adam Priest. I think he's a perfect addition to the AEW roster to kind of fill out these new champions we have. I think he's somebody who could fit in for that national champion picture, or even the international champion picture. I think he's somebody who's really good and would be a very good signing for AEW. But another guy who is currently signed to TNA, I believe, and that's gonna be Jake Something. He is somebody who I've been a huge fan of ever since I've kind of got into DPW, and yeah, I think he's an amazing talent. Unfortunately, TNA isn't doing the most with him, but I think AEW can be using a little bit more and probably using a little bit better as well. So yeah, I think Jake Something would be a great pick in a roster that doesn't have too many big guys, and I think he could fit that role very well.
Yeah, for sure.
But now that we have the signings done, let's go to some departures. Who do you think might leave AEW next year?
I have Danhausen leaving AEW. Obviously, this one's kind of easy to pick. It's been rumored that he is going to be leaving. It's been rumored that he is going to be signed to NXT or WWE, whatever the case is. So that's sort of an easy one. But one of the bigger ones that I think could happen is the Guns. I think that's just a really good tag team, a young tag team, someone who, obviously their dad has history in WWE, of course. And I feel like that'd just be a really good look for them. I feel like they have the WWE kind of vibe to them more than an AEW vibe. So I feel like, the Guns would be an amazing pickup.
Yeah, Departures is kind of a hard one to pick because it's like, you never know who's going to do it unless you kind of hear those rumors. And I did kind of go with some of the easy ones, but I did go with Chris Jericho. He's somebody who I think after the past few interviews he's been doing in podcasts, he's been saying certain things that I think is very interesting to say as a signed AEW talent, but that one feels like the writing is on the wall. Another team that I hope doesn't leave, but I could very well see it, and I won't be upset, is going to be Private Party. They've been in AEW for quite a while now. Unfortunately, never hit the success I think everybody wanted them to hit. They did win those tag team champions, but it kind of fell flat. They didn't have a good run with the belt, and it was kind of just super unfortunate timing for them to have Bobby and Shelton come in and then to lose to them after beating the Young Bucks just a few weeks prior. So, I feel like if they were to leave, I'm not surprised, but I think they would be a great team in WWE, whether they go to NXT or even the main roster. I think they're ready for either or.
Yeah, for sure.
But that will do it for our AEW predictions. Any other predictions you might have for AEW in 2026?
Yeah, I mean, if I want to just make some, easy ones, I would say, maybe a Fletcher face turn could be really cool after the year he's had. And then I think a Darby Allin heel turn is kind of needed. I think if he's going to continue with the way that they're kind of booking his character, where he's not necessarily being booked strong in terms of winning matches and everything. So maybe give him a heel turn, give him some sort of faction maybe, give him a couple people with him, and let him turn heel.
Yeah, one thing I also hope we get, now that we got a women's Blood and Guts this year, I hope we get a women's Continental Classic next year as well. I think that's something that could be very well done. You have a lot of great talent. Mercedes Moné is probably going to be in that tournament. I think that's a lot of great matches you can have consistent on weekly TV. So hopefully we get another women's Continental Classic next year and, kind of even things out again. But yeah, that will do it for our AEW predictions in 2026. Let us know what some predictions you guys have down in the comments below. And if you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And we will see you guys in the next one.